Sunday. It is August the 20th. It is storming outside, or it was storming earlier. Things have eased up here in Southern California. I'm sure it's made national news that we got hit by a tropical storm, but I found it to be quite a pleasant experience because, well, as you know, I love storms. So I've had my patio door open and have just been relaxing. And it's a good thing to use to meditate and to even have an experience, for me, anyways. Not having any sort of sounds in the background, but the actual natural storm. It's been really good. So today, I wanted to, well, I should say tonight actually, because it's like 11:22 p.m., so it's late. Um, Tonight, I wanted to talk about lucid dreaming, astral projection, and reality shifting, and the fact that I believe that there is a connection between them. Now, I have had experiences with lucid dreams where I've transitioned from a lucid dream into astral projection. Not so much that I can think of with reality shifting. I had a recent experience, though. As you know, I'm very kind of passionate about making sure that I have a complete belief that if I had an experience, that it was an actual experience, like reality shifting or astral projection. And I can't confirm this for sure with this particular experience that happened, though this experience inspired me to talk about this because I think a lot of people have, or at least I've seen a lot of people, especially on the subreddit, kind of talking about ways to transition into reality shifting, for example. I also see this with astral projection, but I see this, I think, a lot with reality shifting lately, where they're saying, what is the best way to reality shift? And one of the things that they bring up, I've seen people say, well, is it easier to transition from lucid dreaming to reality shifting? So instead of going through the methods and the techniques that they all talk about and all these these methods and these techniques that are out there, instead of going through all of these things, how about if I learn to lucid dream? Can I go from a lucid dream into a reality shift? Now, personally, I gotta believe that it's possible. I mean, I have jumped from a lucid dream into astral projection. And if it's possible to do that, then I believe it must be possible to do a lucid dream into a reality shift. Now, with my lucid dream into an astral projection, the one that I can think of and the one I've talked about before was when I was dreaming that I was on a commercial airliner. I was in a jet. I was sitting in coach. Seatbelt was buckled. And I suddenly realized in this dream that I was dreaming. I went lucid. And as soon as I went lucid, I was able to think to myself, I want to astral project. So I took off the seatbelt and I jumped straight up, went through the hull of the plane, and suddenly I was flying over a desert. And I knew that there was this transition that had taken place from dreaming to astral projection. Now, of course, the big question and the question that people will ask is, how did I know? How did I know I transitioned from a lucid dream into astral projection? Well, one of the things that has occurred to me, especially with this experience that happened a few days ago, not the plane experience, but the other experience that I feel like I can't 100% say that I feel that I transitioned into a reality shift. But there was not only a shift in the scenery and the clarity of everything, there was a shift in my mind. in a way. And I want you guys to think about that one. Like, my thought process changed. Even going lucid in a dream, it isn't the same as when you transition into astral projection. I think there is a certain clarity, or there's more clarity once you go into an astral projection. It's like you're flipping on a switch, you know? In lucid dreaming, your thoughts, it's still a little perhaps difficult to think logically and to think clearly. But when you transition, I think it might be easier. And for those of you who have done it, you can tell me what you think about this. You know, perhaps there are those of you who have transitioned from a lucid dream to astral projection, or there have been perhaps those of you who have gone from lucid dreaming into reality shifting. Certainly, I'm not saying that it's never been done by anyone before. I'm sure that people have done it, and this brings me to something interesting. Something I want to actually talk about with you guys in regards to having experiences in general. And I think this is to try and help those folks that are trying to have experiences but don't feel that they're having them. Many times, what I see is that people will say, like, for example, they'll say they were in a lucid dream and they tried to transition from a lucid dream into a reality shift, for example. And then they just say, well, what happened was I just went into another lucid dream. And I always want to ask them, well, how do you know for certain that you didn't transition from your lucid dream into a reality shift? And why are you just dismissing it as that? Why aren't you just looking at it? Is it because you have this thought in your mind of what a reality shift, or let's say astral projection, is supposed to be? Like, you have this thought that it's going to be A, B, and C. And if it's not that, then you think that nothing happened, that you're still in a lucid dream. It's like, I think sometimes people ask for stuff and they get it. And then if it doesn't turn out to be exactly the way they think it's going to be, they're like, oh, it didn't happen. And I'm like, but it happened to you and you may not have even seen it. This is why I always say that it's best to open your mind up completely and not to have any thoughts of what something is going to be. It's great to go on the internet and do research and look at other people's experiences, read about other people's experiences. I have nothing against that. That's wonderful. That's great. But in the end, it's important for you to rely on your own instincts to tell you what it is that happened, and to trust those instincts. Because if you're trusting your instincts, you are truly trusting yourself. So, is there a connection between lucid dreaming, astral projection, and reality shifting? Yes, I believe there is. And I think for me, I want to continue to experiment and see where this goes with these things. Yes, we have to label them: lucid dreaming, astral projection, reality shifting. But I still believe that this is all really about frequency and our abilities to change from one frequency to the next. But I also want to caution those who think, well, is lucid dreaming an easier way to do it? Well, let's look at that. Let's start with lucid dreaming, because that's what I started with when I was a kid. I had no idea what lucid dreaming was, but I just knew when I was a little kid, I just thought to myself, well, if you If you're dreaming and it's inside your head, you should be able to control it. That was my whole logic. I didn't realize how difficult it was to lucid dream, though. And I want to tell you that if you think it's going to be easier, that's not necessarily true. Lucid dreaming is really hard. And there are people who I'm certain that are out there that try for years and years and years and years to lucid dream, and they're never able to do it. They're just not able to succeed with it. So the next time someone on the subreddit says to you, if you're telling them about an experience, whether it be astral projection or reality shifting, if they say, oh, well, I think that was a lucid dream, I would take that as a compliment. That's great. And I would tell them, well, thank you. I don't believe it was a lucid dream, but most people can't lucid dream. So thank you. It's an amazing thing to be able to do. So as I have said before, never take that as an insult. that is actually a compliment. So how about this? How about being able to go from a lucid dream to an astral projection to a reality shift? Is that possible? Can you experience all three? And then can you go backwards and forwards? Well, again, I do believe that it's possible, but it's definitely not going to be easy, because you're transitioning from one state to another. And it's difficult enough going, in my mind, from a lucid dream to an astral projection, because, again, I feel like my mind is changing states to a certain extent. If you do that a third time, because with me, reality shifting, the big difference between reality shifting and astral projection is this feeling of being solid. Like you feel like you're inside of a body. And then you're talking about going from being inside of a body back to astral projection, back to lucid dreaming. Anything's possible, guys, but it's not going to be easy. It ain't going to be easy at all. So that's what I think. I hope this has been kind of a helpful discussion for you. I'd love to hear what you have to say or what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And by the way, if you experiment with this and you have success, I would love to hear about it. Until next time, take care.